Would you unlatch the door for a friendly salesman, a crying stranger, or a neighbor who just wants to borrow your attic? In 2025, reports of sympathy scams, stealth break-ins, and live-in prowlers have spiked from Maine to Oregon. 5 stories trace a chilling escalation: a slick pitch at sunset, a phantom plea in the dark, a patio door nudged open, footsteps overhead, and, worst of all, a total stranger already standing in your kitchen. By the end, you'll rethink every bell, bark, and flicker of motion in your own hallway. Ava, a 19-year-old sophomore, had the house to herself while her aunt vacationed overseas. Just after dusk, she heard the doorbell and saw, through the oval glass, a neat young man in khakis, flanked by a gleaming Kirby vacuum. She cracked the door the width of a paperback. "Evening, ma'am. One-time free cleaning demo. Takes 10 minutes and your carpets will sparkle." Ava shook her head. The man's foot shot forward, wedging the door. In that frozen beat, Atlas, her rescue lab, exploded from the hallway with a roar that rattled the china hutch. The salesman's face drained. He stumbled back, nearly tripping over the vacuum. A sedan idled at the curb. 3 silhouettes waited. When Atlas lunged again, the man bolted, leaving the $1,400 machine like an abandoned shell. Tires shrieked as the car fishtailed away. Next morning, Ava noticed a black rubber scuff on the door jamb, proof of the forced entry attempt. A neighbor's driveway cam caught the getaway. The plates were stolen. Deputies linked the crew to 2 other streets hit that week, always targeting homes with a lone car and dim porch light. Ava's aunt cut her trip short. They replaced the wood door with steel, added motion lights, and installed a smart lock that speaks each latch aloud. Months later, detectives called. The vacuum crew was nabbed 3 states away after an identical stunt turned violent. Ava's scuffed Kirby became Exhibit C, a battered trophy showing that sometimes a dog's bark is the last line between normal life and a nightmare headline. Atlas's growl stopped danger at the threshold. Mia's terror began with a voice she never even saw. Mia's apartment sat on the 3rd floor of a sprawling complex. The concrete stairwell echoed like a drum. At 12:15 a.m., frantic knocking jolted her awake. Between thuds, a woman sobbed, "Please, help me." Mia crept to the peephole. Nobody. No retreating footsteps, no shadow hugging the wall, only the soft, almost tinny cries. She'd read about crooks who played baby cry audio to lure victims outside. Her pulse jackhammered as she dialed 911. Dispatch told her to stay put and arm herself if possible. 5 agonizing minutes crawled by before cruiser spotlights swept the lot. The voice stopped mid-whimper, snuffed out like a candle. Officers found no injured woman, no broken down car, only silence. 2 days later, a detective followed up. Maintenance had recovered a Bluetooth speaker beneath the stairs. It looped a 30-second "Help Me" track and activated on motion. Worse, cameras showed a hooded figure testing apartment doors while the audio played. Whenever a porch light snapped on, he slunk away. Management blasted a security memo and hired overnight patrols, but the prowler never returned. Mia ordered pepper spray, drilled a kickstop lock into her floor, and spent a weekend in a self-defense course, practicing how to shoulder a door shut instead of opening it. Yet random night noises still snap her upright. Twice, she's found fresh scratches on the metal frame near her peephole, as if someone keeps measuring how long it'll take her to answer. 3 weeks after the incident, her new Ring camera pinged at 3:02 a.m. The feed showed nothing but a wavering shadow on the opposite wall, yet the mic caught a faint rustle, like denim brushing brick, before the motion light flickered on and the shape slipped out of view. Police reviewed the clip and could only confirm the shadow moved on 2 legs. Rattled, Mia canvassed the complex and learned that an elderly tenant downstairs had heard the same pleading voice months earlier, but, feeling silly, never reported it. Together, they built a block watch plan, surveillance stickers on doors, volunteers for late-night hallway sweeps, and a group text that pings every resident if an alarm triggers. Life has edged back toward normal, but Mia still keeps a collapsible baton in her nightstand and stores spare earbuds beside it, reminders that drowning out strange noises is a luxury she can no longer trust. When friends tease her apartment now looks fortified, she shrugs and repeats her granddad's line, "Better a barricade you never need than an open door you can't close fast enough." Mia never turned the deadbolt. Liam wishes he'd never had to lock his. 17-year-old Liam was savoring solitude. Parents at the lake cabin, older sister on the late shift, only Bruno the shepherd mix for company. Around midnight, Bruno's growl sharpened into a snarl that shook Liam awake in his basement bedroom. Upstairs, the dog stood rigid at the sliding patio door. Liam's plan was simple: close the curtain, hush the mutt, go back to sleep. Then he saw the door already open 3 inches. A cold sheet of dread slid down his spine. Phone flashlight in hand, he swept pantry, closets, even behind the sectional. Nothing. He triple latched the glass and descended the stairs, trying to steady his breathing. Sleep refused to come. Above, Bruno's claws tapped wood. Yet a second set of footsteps, heavy, deliberate, paced with him. Earbuds blaring, Liam finally drifted off. The next weekend, he mounted 2 Wi-Fi cameras. Most nights, they captured raccoons, until one clip showed a gloved hand testing the handle at 3:11 a.m., retreating when the latch didn't budge. Police suspected a transient prowler, but admitted the town had logged 6 no-theft break-ins in 2 months. Now, Liam peddles late-night patrols with friends, radios crackling, and Bruno riding shotgun in a bike trailer. Twice, the dog's instinct led them to fresh footprints by back fences. Somewhere out there, Liam knows, the intruder waits for another unlocked moment. Liam likely locked a stranger inside for hours. Nora discovered someone had been overhead for days. Nora's duplex shared a crawl space with the unit next door, rented by Amber and her husband Rick, freshly home from a 2-year stint upstate. At first, Rick was the helpful neighbor, mowing lawns, fixing faucets, offering backyard smoke breaks. Then came late-night texts while Amber worked. "You bored? Want to hang?" And a blunt proposition for secret fun. Nora's polite refusals turned icy. That's when the ceiling started talking. Soft drags, as though a chair scraped plywood, followed her from bedroom to kitchen. One dawn, she found a slender steel pick on her welcome mat. Rick laughed it off. "Ice pick, sweetheart. No one picks locks with that." Nora wasn't laughing. The final straw came with a pinhole of daylight in her ceiling. A freshly drilled 3/8-inch hole aimed straight at her bed. She stuffed tissue into the gap, photographed everything, and fled to her boyfriend's place. A contractor cousin changed every lock and screwed plywood over the attic entry. 3 weeks later, during the walkthrough, the landlord cracked the hatch and found a damp blanket, an energy drink can, and a phone charger plugged into a bare bulb socket. Someone had been camping above her ceiling. Rick vanished after failing a warrant check. The landlord sealed the crawl space for good. In Nora's new apartment, motion sensors guard every hallway, and she still sweeps the ceiling corners with a flashlight before sleep. Some predators don't smash windows. They wait above them. Nora fled before Harm found her. Emma discovered Harm had already waltzed in, grabbed a slice of pizza, and asked for ranch. Emma woke at 7:30 a.m., needing migraine meds, and shuffled toward the kitchen. She heard rummaging in the fridge and assumed her brother was grabbing breakfast. Rounding the corner, she froze. A stranger, scruffy beard, hoodie, stood casually between shelves, helping himself to 2 slices of leftover pizza. He smiled. "You got any ranch?" Stunned, Emma scanned for her brother. No one. The stranger chatted about dashboard lights on his old Civic while still poking through cabinets. Emma, trying to stay calm, retrieved an unopened ranch bottle and wordlessly handed it over. Just then, her mom descended the stairs and asked, "Who's this?" The man's face blanked. Realizing the lie, Emma backed away. Mom's voice sharpened. "You need to leave." Emma's stepdad, built like a linebacker, appeared behind her. Confronted, the stranger mumbled that someone let him in, but no one had. They guided him firmly to the door and found a backpack he'd forgotten. Inside were credit card statements, a library card, and a spiral notebook, all in one name. Officers located the man 2 streets over, disoriented, claiming he'd blacked out. The family declined to press charges, hoping treatment, not jail, might help. Police later learned he'd been couch surfing since losing his apartment and slipping into substance abuse. That morning, he'd wandered the neighborhood trying unlocked doors until Emma's yielded. He hadn't meant harm, but trust is still trespass. The family now locks up even for a 5-minute dog walk, and the spare key once hidden under a flower pot lives inside a coded lockbox, bolted to brick. A salesman's grin at sunset, a phantom cry in the hallway, a patio door nudged ajar, tiny holes drilled overhead, and a hungry stranger already raiding your fridge. 5 reminders that a home can flip from refuge to hunting ground in seconds. None of these encounters ended with headline violence, and that's why they matter. Opportunists and predators bank on the single polite instant when you unlatch, investigate, or doubt your instincts. Trust the bark, the goose flesh, the itch between your shoulder blades. Reinforce every deadbolt. Glance through the peephole before you twist the knob, and stash your spare key somewhere smarter than beneath the mat. Caution isn't paranoia when someone else is rolling the dice with your safety. Sleep light, and if you hear footsteps where there should be none, remember you're allowed to lock the world out first and ask questions later.